8654.
Dude.
Welcome, pioneers, to the Somnium Show, the place to know about everything and all things that are happening in our wonderful community of Somnium Space. Come on, audience, let's get a woohoo! Somnium Space, yeah! Woo! Boy, oh boy, do we have a wonderful guest for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking with the man, the legend, the wolf himself, Woofer Blast. So stay tuned. Here we go, guys. Do the Somnium Show, the place to know about the Somnium Show.
Where's my applause button? Oh, he's shy. He's shy. We have to give him another round of applause while I'm...
Yeah, guys, give everyone a round of applause. Woofer Blast, come on over here.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. Let me just
Thank
woof.
you.
Clap, 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 clap.
Thanks for coming.
Sorry, I
Thanks
had
for
my,
being
my
here.
belt in my hand there. It's making...
Why won't this stuff load? It's making me mad.
We'll work with it. We'll work with it, Blow.
Okay.
Woofer Blast,
Okay.
so awesome. It's such a pleasure having you on here today on the Somnium Show.
Well, it's
Our most
nice-
esteemed guest,
nice
the
to
very
be
host
here.
of Somnium Space Show, is right here, and we're interviewing him. What do you know about that, guys? You, clap, 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 clap. All right, awesome.
Yay.
So, bro, yeah,
Yay.
how's life been? How's your day been?
So far, so good. I'm still kicking, still here.
Wow.
And had a long walk over here from the city center.
Yeah, it was quite
And
an
no
interesting
wonder
walk.
everybody's always late.
Yeah, what
Takes
can you
half
do?
hour to walk here.
It's always best to be fashionably late to let everyone know that you don't really care about them.
Okay.
Hey! No, I'm just joking.
Show you care. Show you really care by just not showing up at all.
Exactly.
That'll work.
So, Woofer Blast, can
Yay.
you tell? I mean, like, you've been such an active member of our community. You've been building so much and doing so many wonderful things. Can you tell us all where it all began? Where did Woofer Blast come from? Who is Woofer Blast? What is Woofer Blast? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What is Woofer Blast?
What you were before Somnium Space, like your time as a web developer, and yeah, I'd really love to know.
Where do you want me to start?
Tell me about the bulletin boards.
The bulletin boards?
Yeah, remember how like you used to be like you used to host a bunch of them?
Oh, the sandwich board?
Yeah, the sandwich board. Tell me about that. What was it
Yeah.
like back then, pre-internet days?
Oh, the computer bulletin board.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about my bulletin board that I wear around town. Oh, the computer bulletin board. Yeah, that was fun. It started, I was working at a flea market one time, and there was this guy next to me selling all these little computer parts and things. So what's that? What you got there? He has some modems and things, and some wires and some discs and little games on them and things. I said, what you got? What you got? And I was talking to him for, I worked the whole weekend there, so I was talking to him quite a bit, and I said, I'm gonna have to get me one of those things for my computer so I can talk to people and send pictures and stuff like that. So I finally, I got a modem, a big, what was it? I think my first one was 1200 baud. Then I worked up to 2400 baud. I thought, oh wow, I'm hot stuff now. But when I started connecting to the internet, it was mostly universities. It's not a whole lot going on. But I discovered computer bulletin boards, and they were a lot of fun. They were more or less like Discord right now. And so I got the software, set up a computer bulletin board, and ran that for about 5 years, I think.
Wow, 5 years?
It was a lot of fun.
And then what happened?
Yeah.
Did you stop because the internet came out, or like why did you stop?
No, that was on the internet.
Really?
Well,
I thought like
I
a
guess-
bulletin boards were
no,
like a
I guess-
different.
no,
they're not
that's
really
right.
internet. I mean,
No,
you're
you're right.
dialing straight into like a computer. They're more
Yeah,
like
you're right.
peer-to-peer.
It was dial-up.
Yeah, it was dial-up. Remember
It was
that?
dial-up,
Remember dial-up?
Yeah, I don't think anybody remembers that. I used this little piece of software called a trumpet. a trumpet windsock, and you loaded that on, and you used it to dial your shell account, and you logged in, and you had to know a lot of Unix commands, you know, and these really long commands, and you change directories and stuff, and you're on this computer in Australia or something, this university in Australia, and you mistype one of these really long lines you're typing, and then you end up, you don't know where you are. There's no clue. So I just hope I didn't screw up anybody else's computer. You know, you run the risk of doing that, I guess. Because back then there wasn't, you could accidentally mess something up.
Was it like
But
war
then I got a
games?
job.
Did you watch the movie War Games?
Sort of. Yeah. It was sort of like that. There were some people who were actually trying to mess things up. But a friend of mine worked at the first internet service provider in the area, and he said, "You want a job?" I said, "Sure, yeah, okay. I'll work there. That'd be cool. What do I do?" He says, "Well, you make web pages." I said, "Ah, cool. What's a web page?" You know, I had no idea. I'd never seen the internet before. And he showed me. I said, "Oh, okay, I can do that."
Wow, that's so cool.
I got to work this first internet provider in the tri-state area. It's called Internet Access Cincinnati. And it was just a guy and his sister, and the servers were just a couple computers in a closet.
Made
you
of
know?
Lego blocks.
But they were first.
Wow, that's amazing. Well,
And
what a
then,
fantastic story. What did you run on your bulletin board?
It was just like a message board, you know, sort of like just like Discord.
I mean, but you ran it for 5
only it was,
years, and I'm assuming people connected to it.
Yeah, lots of people.
Did you make friends on it?
And yeah, I met a
Wow,
lot of the
this is
people,
crazy.
hung out with them and stuff, and some of them had computer bulletin boards too. So you know, we talk about that stuff all day. And I ended up dating one of the girls for a while. She had a computer bulletin board too.
Really?
It's like everybody was sort of doing the same thing.
What
so
do they do?
we
Like,
had a lot to talk
what
about.
would you put on your bulletin board? Like, if I went to Woofer Blast's bulletin board, what would I find?
Well, okay, you'd log in, and first you'd see the day's bulletins, you know, what's going on. And then you have different categories of channels, just like Discord. You can have different channels to leave your messages and read messages and stuff. And there's also file transfers where you can upload and download files. They were really small, a lot of text files and little tiny things. And you could do that. You could play games. There were some really simple games you could play.
I mean, what was on
And,
yours? Like, what did you put on yours? Like, what do I find? Like, was it about ghosts? Was it during your ghost hunting days? Because you're going to have to tell me about that too.
It was before that.
So
It
what
was
did you have
called The
on it?
Lost City.
Really?
It was just, you could talk about whatever you wanted to talk about. You know, people would just, like I keep saying, it's just like on Discord, you just talk about whatever you want to. And also upload and download files and play games, and not a whole lot because it was just, the first bulletin board was only on a couple of floppy disks. It was
So
like,
what was the fun? Was the enjoyment in like actually making it and coordinating it? And
yeah,
do you think?
making it, adding to it, you know, changing it around, because it's really modular. You could do just about anything you wanted to, and that was the fun. Just I like building things, you know, and working on things like that. So, and understanding how it worked. And I'd call other bulletin boards and talk to them. You could break in and you could chat with the sysop, which is a system operator, which would be me. You could
So how would someone
page
break in?
them.
Is that like a bulletin board term or like?
No,
did you
no, I
actually-
don't mean really, literally break in, but you'd page them. And on my side, you know, the computer would be deet, 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 not either answer or ignore it, you know, whatever. And I'd start talking to these people. It was like, sort of like with Discord too. Everybody wanted to know how things worked. Like, what do you got? What kind of computer software are you running? I ran a program called Searchlight. It's written by a guy named Frank LaRosa, and he lived in Cleveland, Ohio. And I live in Cincinnati. And one time he had a convention of other sysops from Searchlight bulletin boards. I went to that and got to hang out with these people.
Oh, Searchlight
for the
is the
weekend and
actual
just-
software for the bulletin board.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. You can still get it. You can start your own.
Cool. Do you see them coming back? I mean, wouldn't you say that bulletin boards? I mean, like they're like it's pretty cool. I mean, it's peer to peer. You don't have to rely on anyone. Do you see them
No.
making a comeback someday in some way, shape, or form?
Maybe just for fun, just for nostalgia. It'd be cool
Wow.
because they were just fun to work on and fun to play
So
around
you don't
with.
think
They'd
that they
crash
have
all the
any,
time.
you don't think like the whole idea of peer-to-peer connection is like important? Do you think that
Yeah,
should play?
I mean, you could have your own private little bulletin board, and people have to log in. They have to have passwords and everything like that. There's some security involved.
How would
So
someone find
you
like a
could make-
bulletin board? Like, was there like a directory of bulletin boards that people would?
Yeah, there was a directory that we all shared. People in your area would share this directory, and they'd have it for download on their bulletin board. So you could always download the directory and see what other bulletin boards were in the area. I used to call some in New Zealand, some in California. The ones in California were strange back then because it seemed like most of those guys were hackers, and they would play around with you, like if you called and you didn't quite know what you're doing, they would just play around with you all day.
Did they play around with you?
Yeah, I forget what this one guy did. He almost convinced me I was running some different software or something. I forget what it was, but when I found out, I realized what he was doing. It was funny. You had to have a sense of humor. And then this one guy used to call mine every day and try to crash it. And,
Really?
and the software was so. Yeah, the
Why?
software was so.
Did he hate you? Was there like a
flimsy.
war? Did you guys have bulletin board
Nah.
wars with like one group of bulletin board
sort of.
sysadmin? Really?
Sort of, it's more like competition,
So
This
would
one
you
guy
guys
would
try
call-
and crash
my
each
software?
other's?
Yeah, I never did it to anybody else, but they did it to me. He'd call and hang up real fast, and there was a bug in the software where if you did that, it would hang. It would make the program hang, and you'd have to reboot it. and
Wow.
everything. Yeah, so he discovered this, and he'd call and hang up, call and hang up.
I have to say that's pretty funny.
Yeah, but that bug, we worked that one out.
That's great. What happened afterwards? After like, so you were running like a bulletin board, and then you got a job doing web pages. You've never heard of them before. Like during all this time, like what did you think about this like new technology? Where did you see it going? What did you envision?
I loved it. I remember one of the first websites I visited was MTV,
Really?
and that was really fancy. It was a really fancy one for back then. They had photographs, they had little sound files you could play, and that was almost unheard of. Not too many people had that.
I remember
It
the
was mostly
first
just
site that
ASCII.
I went to was Disney Playhouse. Hey, let's ask everyone
Right.
in the audience what their first website was. Hey, audience, we love you. Say hi to our wonderful viewers.
What's up,
Yeah, woo.
dude? Whoa, yeah.
Hey, damn dick, do you remember your first website that you
Wow.
visited?
My first website would have to be yahoo.com.
Yahoo! Yeah, let's give it up for damn dick. Yahoo's first site.
Probably made an email.
To who? To yourself?
Create an email. No, just create an email. My first email in 2001.
Wow.
Maybe yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Maybe it
Yahoo's
was a bit
first
before
site.
then.
Denevro, what was your first site? Your first website? Denevro. I think he's doing some like VR things. Anyway, Wilson, what was your first website?
I don't know.
No.
Probably Google.
Google? Huh.
Yahoo.
Mhm.
Yahoo too? We got a Yahoo and a Google. First sites, huh?
No.
What's that sound?
was
Oh
at
no, I
school.
know the page that say that don't have internet.
404, yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, how about you, Matt?
Everybody's favorite.
You got or wait, I don't have my name tags on. Anyway, how about you, big yellow fishes? Do you guys remember which was your first site? Oh, he got up.
Yeah, that's be it. Yeah, it's Google probably.
Google. How about you, bro?
Yeah.
Is he there? Anyway, let's ask Kidnap. Kidnap. Yo, bro, do you remember which site?
They're falling
Your
asleep.
First site.
Wake up, wake up.
My first site
Yeah, the first
that
site.
I went to,
Yeah.
whew, it was probably like Netscape. I think you went to the Netscape page first.
No, man, I don't.
Oh,
Come on, guys. I
website.
mean, like, which was your first intentional? I'm gonna go on a website. I'm gonna be like, this is the, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Man, we're talking a long time ago. I can't remember which one I would have gone to purposefully.
I remember
It's hard to
mine.
remember,
It
isn't
was-
it?
Yeah.
I remember mine because
did?
my parents, they told me, they're like, don't go on the internet, and like I wanted to go to like the Disney Playhouse site so bad, right? I wanted to play all these cool
Yep.
games and stuff, and that's why I remember it. Awesome, thank you guys.
Well, I think at the time we were mostly just looking for information, not generally a site to experience. It wasn't a lot to experience. It was a lot of text.
Oh yeah, you're
Very
talking about the
few
Netscape,
pictures.
yeah, back then. Yo, do you remember
Yeah.
the bulletin boards? Did you used to do anything with them?
I mean, just a little bit. Mostly it was friends of mine that were on colleges, at college. And I would go hang out with them at their college dorms, and then they would be remoted into other either bulletin boards in other colleges or in the same network. So yeah, I definitely remember doing that.
Cool, that's awesome. Searcher, do you remember which site that you first went on? Your first website?
Must have been Yahoo for me too.
Yahoo, eh? That's awesome. Yeah, wow, guys, taking you back to the good old days where it all began.
Man, you guys remember?
I have to change
Dogpile
mine.
for
It
a while was
actually
huge.
Ask
Dogpile.
Jeeves.
Yeah, Ask Jeeves.
I remember.
I remember Ask Jeeves. I don't
That
remember
was a good
Dogpile.
Yeah.
Dogpile was just before Google for me, and it was
Huh.
a mess of a site. It had so many links and it was mostly text, and then Google just dominated.
Yeah.
It was Ask
I was
Jeeves
so
for BitTorrent.
Yeah.
I was so
LimeWire.
used to
That
just
was
using
the
command
French
line
LimeWire.
stuff.
That was what it was.
That's hardcore, bro. So like,
Yeah, I had to.
yeah, I mean,
And I said, "What do you mean? I got the job. And I have to install Windows? No,
what was it
I
like?
have to install an operating system.
What
It
did
was
you first
terrible.
install?
Windows 3.1.
What was that?
It
I
was
didn't-
terrible.
What was on it? Was it like a graphical? Did it have like a graphical user interface?
Barely. It was little clunky looking icons and big text, and it was pretty bad. But it made things easier for people, and people like it easy, So I had to install that to work anyway.
Wow.
Remember how long it took for people to figure out double click?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I shouldn't say this, but later on when I worked at the EPA, I did the same thing at the EPA. I worked on websites and databases, but each department had their own head of the departments. And this woman, I was doing a website for her, and she called me up and says, "How's it work?" I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you do? I said, you roll your little mouse around, and when you get over top of something you like, you click it. She says, all I see is a little Mickey Mouse hand. I said, okay. You take your mouse and you roll it around, and when that little Mickey Mouse hand gets over the text that you want to check out, or the photo, whatever, you click on it. She goes, oh, okay, thanks. And this is a head of the department, you know. She should have known. But,
Crazy days back then.
and that was, when was that? That was, God, that was at least 2000 or so. You know, by then people should have known how to use basic things. But even then, people were, you know, not everybody was familiar with the internet, and people just, they didn't know what to do. It was funny.
Yeah. So
But,
you stayed there for like, is this when you started your ghost hunting days? When you got that
Yeah,
job?
it was around that time. Yeah, it was
Why?
around that time.
Like, well, what's the whole story
Why
with the
what?
ghost hunting? Like, why did you become a
Oh,
ghost hunter?
okay.
Like, did like a ghost
Okay, well,
steal from you or something, and you know you wanted revenge, and you vowed to get something like
Yeah.
that? Is that what happened?
Kill those ghosts.
Kill those
ghosts.
ghosts.
Wait a minute, they're already dead. Well, what are you
What
gonna
do we
do? No, but my sister lived in a house that was haunted, and she didn't know what to think. You know, you move into a house, and just strange stuff would happen all the time. Like they would try to be sleeping, and they'd hear the cupboard doors in the kitchen just clack, 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 you know, opening and closing, clack, 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 things like that. And lights would go on and off for no reason. They had their circuit breaker replaced like 3 or 4 times.
Their circuit
Till
breaker.
they finally figured out.
So what does that? What does
Yeah.
that mean? That
It-
ghosts are like some type of electromagnetic residual that's
Well,
left
they
over.
are. It's an energy. It's an energy. Of some
does energy
kind,
mean?
And nobody.
Why do people say energy? What does that word
what's
mean?
Energy.
Yeah, what does that mean? I know the
What does it
scientific
mean?
definition of energy is the ability to do work. So if someone says energy, like what is it?
No.
What does it mean?
I mean, an energy like electricity energy or radioactive
So
energy
vibrations?
or solar energy. It's a God. How would you explain that?
I mean, I think
What
the
is
ability
energy?
to do work is pretty satisfactory in explanation.
Well,
I mean, even for
okay.
like ghosts. I mean, if
we'll
you
go
just,
with that one then.
Yeah.
But Ghost's whole thing, it seems, this is just my theory. I read a ton of books on it, trying to figure out what was going on. But it's they're trying to communicate in any way they can, and you can't see them usually, and they try to communicate in any way they can. If they could make a knocking sound or turn a light on and off or knock over a bowl or whatever it takes just to get your attention. And so after a while I came over, and this was just before the ghost hunting shows started, so we didn't really know what to do. So we bought motion detectors, EMF detectors, which detects energy, electromagnetic fields, some cameras and monitors, which we just bought those little baby monitors, you know, the little screens, and you just have a camera you could put by your baby, but we put them downstairs by the ghosts. And we'd sit around the kitchen table with those
so the ghosts were
monitors.
hanging out in the living room.
Yeah.
Like, is
no,
that the only
no,
place?
basement.
Oh, oh yeah.
No,
'cause
they would hang out.
I
No,
imagine
we
them
would
like
hang around in the living room.
sitting around like smoking a joint, and it's like, oh, you know, like they're like squatting in the house.
They seem to be in the basement a lot. But,
Why?
So anyway, we
Is it
had.
because it's cold? Maybe they were.
I don't know.
Okay. Question. Why do you think ghosts
Okay.
are dead people? Like why? Like because in Islam,
well,
right?
they're not.
They're
not
in
all dead
Islam.
people.
It says that there are like 3 types of beings. There are angels,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are human beings, and then there's a third class of beings called jinn. and they're just like, what if it's
Yeah.
jinn? You know, like, I mean, the closest approximation one could make to jinn is the Christian concept of demons. But the problem with that is that
Demons, yeah.
demons are like evil, right? But like jinn aren't evil. They can
Right.
be good, they can be bad. They're just like you and me. Like the actual word in Arabic, jinn, it means unseen. So it's like anything that's like, you know, they're like different beings that aren't in the same. So what if it's those things, jinn?
That's what we figured. After a while, we figured it's not people. It was something else.
No way.
And yeah, and have you heard of EVP, electronic voice phenomena?
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, where you can take any kind of a recorder, anything that will record sound actually, and just put it somewhere and talk or ask questions, whatever you want to do, and hope that something comes up. Something will imprint on the recording device. And nobody knows how it happens, but it does happen. And it's the energy imprinting on the device, I guess. You know, like electricity can do a lot of different things. Life force, I guess, can do a lot
Life
of different
force?
things too. Yeah, the energy, whatever this is, that's.
I mean,
that,
I would say
makes up-
like it's an electromagnetic field because like it's
Yeah.
the result of neurochemical reactions that are happening in the body. They cause vibrations, right? So doesn't that mean
If you scan your brain, it gives off energy. I
So-
mean, there's electromagnetic activity going on, and that doesn't stop when you die, apparently.
So do you think
But,
do you think life is like like instead of being born into the world, you're born out of it?
You're born into part of it. It's like it's all one place, really, but we're only aware of certain parts of it. You know what I mean? I think,
Cool.
that's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
But we did pick up a lot of EVP. I'm trying to say the motion sensors when we set them up in the basement. There were 3 of them, and when they were set off, they'd go 1, 2, or 3, whatever. You know, it'd call out the number. So when I was setting them up in the basement, I'd go around and go sensor 1. You know, talking to my sister upstairs because she could hear me, you know, through the monitors. I said, sensor 1, sensor 2, you know, just checking them out, doing a mic check. Then I'd go back upstairs and we'd sit around the kitchen and talk a while. But once I was in the basement, and I have this recording, I was looking in the sink. There's a sink down in the basement, and I was just joking around. I said, well, why don't you, do something for us? There's not even any goo in the sink. And you hear this thing going, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," like that. It just sounds like that. It's really, and it sounds like, if you could imagine, it sounds like it's about a foot from your ear.
Whoa.
And another one, we weren't in the basement at all. We were upstairs. But you hear it go, 1, 2,
What?
3.
Was it mocking you?
Yeah, mocking me. It's like it was mocking me. It's really strange. And I think the coolest thing happened was in the living room. We had 2 or 3 cameras set up. We used our video cameras too, but we used cameras that would detect infrared. And we were sitting in the kitchen. I had my back to the front door, and I noticed a cold draft. I said, God, it's cold all of a sudden. And you could feel this cold draft. So we said, well, let's see if there's anything going on. We looked in the cameras and the viewfinders and stuff and couldn't see anything. But then all of a sudden, the image in the viewfinder just went black in both cameras. And then it came back slowly. It was like a glowing blue ball of light. It came back into the viewfinder. And it happened on both cameras too. And I think it was plasma, or it could have been, we don't know what kind of energy it is, but it manifested there for a few minutes, and then it faded back out, and then the room went back to regular
know-
temperature.
you
I
know,
think the
in
reason
the-
it gets cold,
Yeah, sorry.
okay, the reason it gets cold is because it's sucking the energy out of the room, literally using that energy to manifest. It has to take energy from somewhere else to use it for itself. You know what I mean?
You know how like I was
It's-
talking
it-
about jinn?
It's all just theory. Yeah.
You know, it says that jinn are made of smokeless fire. So that's very interesting. I noticed that.
Yeah.
So do you think it could be like ultra terrestrial entities, you know, and they're just trolling us? Because the way I see it, if humans
could be.
enjoy trolling themselves, like if we enjoy trolling each
Yeah.
other, then like why wouldn't these things enjoy trolling themselves and maybe even humans?
Sure.
Do you think so? Do you think it's
Yeah,
all just
I'm
for
sure
like
they-
laughs?
It could be. It could be just for laughs. You don't know their purpose.
What do you think their
Uh,
purpose? Like, why were they? Do you think like, why were they in your sister's house? Or maybe your sister was in their
yeah,
house.
that's what I'm trying to.
Maybe it was their house before, and you guys just moved in.
Well, it was a pretty old house, and it belonged to my brother-in-law's grandparents. So they'd been in the family for a long time, and it never had any activity before that.
Oh.
So I don't know what happened, but they
So-
were glad to get out of that house.
Oh, they got out of the house. Oh, thank
Yeah.
God. Yeah. You know, like
after a few
the
years.
the craziest story I like have with like anything close to like ghosts or weird thingies or like I personally don't believe in ghosts because I don't think the human
Mm-hmm.
being has a soul because it doesn't make any sense. Like I don't think there's some eternal soul that has an just
Well, it's
doesn't.
not necessarily a soul.
Yeah, exactly, but it's not
It's
it's not a soul, it's a spirit. It's a spirit, right? Cuz
Okay, what's the difference?
a soul is eternal, right? A soul is like a soul.
Yeah.
The closest approximation to a soul, I would say, would be yourself, right? That's like your soul. That's like you. You know, like what? Like when you think when I
Okay.
die, I go to heaven or hell. You think yourself, right? But I think like the word
Okay.
spirit, it comes from the Latin word, respire. You know, which means to breathe. So that's what I mean. You know, and like in Arabic, the word ruh, breath, it comes from the Arabic word for wind. So like, you know, breath, wind. So it's kind of like that. I think it's that thing that like you don't have to think about
Sort
like
of-
how you breathe, right?
Sort of a byproduct.
No, I mean it's like
Yeah.
literally it's like God. It's literally it's like what's like it's the same thing that's like making like the sun turn and making all it's you know like you can try and hold
Oh.
your breath, but like you know like you like they're like for example, you can't like you can't really control your breathing, right? You can try and hold your breath, but if someone tries to drown you, you're going to struggle and you will because that's like not you, that's like your body, right? So that's the whole idea like I think it's better, but the problem with that I've noticed is that like thinking that you don't have a soul, it has some psychological effects, some detrimental psychological effects. It puts this like layer of bitterness. So yeah, so I mean at the same
Well-
time like the soul is a useful idea, right? Because you know everyone has a soul and then you're like, "Oh, I don't have a soul." So there's a balance. It's all just like a framework, I think. Anyway, I'm just going on a rant here.
Yeah.
Tell us more about
I don't think.
Yeah.
I was just going to say I don't think you have to think of it in a religious context.
Why not?
It's just, because it exists whether you believe in it or not. But I think, like I was saying, it's just some sort of an energy, some sort of life force. You know, call it what you want, but it exists in other planes and exists here.
Cool.
It's something that never fades away, I believe.
That's incredible.
Okay, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna ask you. Yeah, that was amazing. You guys heard it from Wilfred Blast himself. You know, we're all one giant God complex, in and of itself and without itself. Really amazing, bro. That's so spectacular, man. That you've been doing like bulletin boards, and then you jumped in when like the web first started. It's really amazing. And now you're here in Somnium Space. That's fantastic. What do you think of Somnium Space? Would you ever like believe this could be happening?
No, a few years ago I sure couldn't, but yeah, I'm surprised every day about what we can do here and what you can accomplish and what we will be able to do, later. You can just imagine. I mean, you come up with ideas all day long, and you can almost do them now. These things that you want to do, you can almost do them now, but not quite. And there's a lot of things still being developed, things still being worked out, but you can see the potential. You can see the potential of this becoming something. It's an alternate world of sorts, where I hope people don't pick it over the real world. I think you should have a balance there. But it's incredible.
Truly is.
Full potential.
It truly is. Looking forward to achieving greatness and glory with all of you. Thank you so much, Welfare Blast, for being an esteemed guest on the
You're
fabulous, spectacular Somnium Show. Come on, audience, jump on the table. Let's go. Come on, Wolf.
Sorry, I
Get
spent
on
the whole
table.
time talking about ghosts.
No, man, that's perfect. Come on, audience, get on the table. The Somnium Show.
Where's the cake?
Oh, the cake is eaten. It's
Come on, on the table.
The cake is eaten.
Yo, okay, guys, come on. We're gonna take a picture. Come on, Denevro, yeah. Is it like a bunny hop? Wilson, jump in here. Yeah. Okay, wait. I just gotta fix my angles. Okay. Countdown going. 3, 2, 1. The Somnium Show. Do. Thank you, viewers, and stay tuned for next week because we're going to be having a fantastical interview with your boy, Denevro. So stay tuned, everybody, for the Somnium Show next week.
Okay.
We're going to be finding out what he's up to. The genius hyena is going to bless you with some surprises, baby. So we'll see you next time on the other side of the monitor. Woo! The Somnium Show.
Wow, that interview.